Sciences teacher educator at NDSU. I'm an associate professor in the College of Human Development and Education, and I'm going to be talking to you today about our master's program in Family and Consumer Sciences education that can lead to a teaching license in FACS. Joining me today also is Karen Murray, and she'll be visiting with you about some of the things in just a little while. Our program is offered through the Great Plains Distance Education Alliance, which is a consortium of, we've got about 5 different institutions in the Family Consumer Sciences program. All of these courses, though, do appear as NDSU courses on your transcript, and your degree would come from NDSU. The degree is focused towards those who have a bachelor's degree already in an area that is related to family and consumer sciences. For example, a person might have a degree in child development or in nutrition, and then they decide that they want to be a family consumer sciences teacher. This program is set up so that it will give those people the opportunity to take courses online that are education courses that give them the education courses that they would need to obtain a license. Most likely, you will need to take some other undergraduate content courses for the licensure portion. The master's degree just gives you the education portion, but for example, if you have a degree in dietetics already, in order to teach, to get that teaching license, you might need to take some courses in child development, in apparel, in family finance. Or if you have a degree already in child development, you might need to take courses in nutrition, in apparel, etc. And those are usually offered at the undergraduate level, and NDSU does have them available online as well. There's only a couple of courses in our master's program that need to be taken in sequence, and so it's really up to the individual to kind of decide how they want to sequence their courses. There are a couple of methods courses that do need to be taken. Usually they're taken more at the end of the time. One unique thing about this program is that it's a very rare and wonderful opportunity for you to interact with several family and consumer sciences teacher educators from across the country, as well as persons who are going into family and consumer sciences education from across the country. Most of these people, as we said before, they do have bachelor's degrees already. Many of them have families. Many of them are working at the same time. So it's good to get their points of view, what education is like throughout different parts of the country, and also to know that a lot of these people are in the same types of situation that you are in, going back to school, wanting to teach FACS. On a side note, we are starting a program for persons who already have a degree in family consumer sciences. They might already be teaching family and consumer sciences. We are starting that degree up. Like I said, that's just kind of a side note. We're going to be focusing on the program that's for those who want to get a teaching license. Our master's program is about 39 credits, and 9 of those credits are with student teaching. As I mentioned before, you most likely will need several undergraduate content courses, child development, nutrition, apparel, and it really depends on your previous degree. And so, it might be 10 credits, it might be 40 credits, it really depends on what that previous degree was, as well as what your state's requirements are. There is no thesis in this program. You will take a research course, and our student teaching experience with reflection is what counts as our capstone part of the course. You'll be taking classes on basically 4 different types of topics. The first one being students. There's classes on adolescent learners, on students with special needs, and also dealing with a diverse amount of students. There's also classes that give you a FACS background, such as philosophy and policy of family and consumer sciences education, and also how to teach occupational courses. There are courses on teaching, obviously. There's a couple of methods courses. There's a course I'm teaching right now called Teaching Facts with Technology, and also a content area reading courses. So it's all really focused on family consumer sciences and the teaching of family consumer sciences in the middle school or high school classroom. And then our last area is field experiences, which you'll have 2 different field experiences with your different methods classes, plus a student teaching. And student teaching is an entire semester. It's about 16 weeks. Students who are successful in this program really need to be self-motivated because it is online and you aren't going to class and seeing people face-to-face. You have to be motivated to and set deadlines and keep those deadlines with yourself. Most of the courses are set up more of like on a weekly basis rather than here's your whole semester, but that really helps keep students on track as well. We also really try to engage students and get them involved rather than just reading and taking a test. There's more things to involve you with each other as well as with the instructor. And it's really important too to let the instructor or your advisor know if you have questions. Because of that distance and because communication can sometimes be a little more difficult, you need to make sure you let them know right away if you do have questions. It is interesting though, because sometimes I find I get to know my students in the online courses almost better than some of the ones who are face-to-face. So it's not that communication can't happen, it's just sometimes you might need to initiate it. The research areas and expertise of the faculty. First of all, and I think what's most important for this program is all of the faculty have taught family consumer sciences at the middle school or high school level. I myself taught for about 14 years before coming to North Dakota State University. Some of our other research interests include online teaching and learning, research on using technology in the FACS classroom, including core academics in the FACS classroom, and really just a wide variety of other family consumer sciences education topics, because that is what we all do. We are specifically with family consumer sciences. This program is geared to help you become a family consumer sciences teacher, but other careers might be possible from it. For example, working with the Cooperative Extension Service or teaching in more informal types of environment. The job outlook is excellent. Right now they're estimating there's about 10 openings for every student who graduates in family consumer sciences education. I'm constantly getting emails and calls from people in North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, asking if we have any graduates this year because they're trying to hire people, and that is really nationwide. There are some positions that even go unfilled each year. You do need to keep in mind, though, if you're living in a small town and you want to be a family consumer sciences teacher and they just have one person in that position, your options might be limited. So it might not be the specific town that you want to be in. Options there might be limited, but there are open positions across the country. The most useful undergraduate degree is something in family and consumer sciences related to family and consumer sciences. Like we have a lot of child development majors, merchandising or apparel majors, or dietetics majors, that they've had those as their undergraduate majors. However, others are acceptable. The biggest difference you're going to see is that the less related to family and consumer sciences it is, the more of those undergraduate content courses you're going to need to take to make up for not having those already. The education portion, the master's degree portion, will look the same, but what you need for licensure might look different depending on what your major previously was. We are as far as I know, we are the only online family consumer sciences group in the United States. I don't know of any undergraduate online FACS teacher education programs, and I believe we're the only online one. And this really became important for us to develop because several states in the United States are no longer have an institution who are preparing family and consumer sciences teachers. So at the universities, they don't have the teacher education program for FACS. However, they still have FACS within the high schools and middle schools in the state. And so persons in that state who want to stay in that state and teach in that state need an online program. Several of us were getting a lot of calls about people in either remote locations or just didn't have somewhere nearby that they could get FACS education degree through. And so that's why we started up this online program. As far as admission goes, you can apply year-round, but I would recommend that you apply about 1 to 2 months before you plan to start classes, just because the paperwork takes a little bit of time. But it can be done. There are no specific deadlines. It can be done at any time. The procedure for applying, you do not need to take any tests, no GRE or MAT, that's not required. You can go to the graduate school website to find out what you do need to apply, as well as the teacher education website. At the teacher education website, you'll find that you need to write an essay defining and personalizing the 5 core propositions of the National Board of Professional Teaching Standards. And these 5 core propositions are things like understanding that all students can learn, knowing your subject, being members of learning communities. Again, the application can be found at the graduate school website. One requirement that we do have is your undergraduate GPA must be at least a 3.0. So, no matter what the major was in, that bachelor's degree has to be at least a 3.0. If it was less than a 3.0, you can potentially eventually be admitted if you apply as non-degree seeking and then take 9 graduate level courses. If you can get at least a B in each of the, 9 credits. If you can get at least a B in those 9 credits, or basically 3 courses, then you can apply to be fully admitted. So if your GPA is less than 3.0, that is one option that you could pursue. Your admission is also based on your response to those 5 core propositions that I described earlier. So once you're admitted and it comes to choosing classes, basically there are no options of different courses that you can take. You do have to take pretty much every course that's in the program. There's not a lot of leeway for different types of courses. We have it pretty much all set out based on what FACS teachers need in order to become licensed in most states. There isn't necessarily a certain sequence, except there are 2 FACS methods courses. There's a FACS methods of teaching FACS 1 and the methods of teaching FACS 2. You need to take 1 before you take 2. And usually those are taken at the end, which kind of makes sense because they're kind of incorporating everything and getting you ready for student teaching. Once you are admitted, I can help you put together a plan of study and help you figure out about how long it might take you to get through the program and what classes it would make sense for you to take. Karen, would you like to talk to them a little bit about signing up for classes?
I'm Karen Muri. I'm the campus coordinator at NDSU for the Great Plains IDEA program. And all your registrations go through me because the classes are locked on Campus Connection where students normally register. Before each semester, I send the students in the program an email listing all the classes that are offered for that semester. And you need to let me know which classes you want to register for. It is good that helpful that you talk to your advisor before you let me know which classes, so we make sure you're getting in the correct classes that you need. I exchange the registrations on a database that is shared by the Great Plains campus coordinators, and there are caps set for the course registration, so it is important that you let me know early enough so that you get in the classes that you need. And then when you're admitted and everything at NDSU, then I register you at NDSU. I register you at NDSU each following semester. If you need to drop a class, I need to know that because I need to manually drop you. Then I send emails to you. If you're registering for a class, I'll send you an email with instructions how to access the course site. NDSU uses Blackboard for their courses. If you're registering at another university, when I send you information about the classes you're registered for, there is a course information sheet that gives you information about the class and the instructor and the university where it's being taught. And someone from that university contacts you and also would give you instructions how to access whatever form that they use for their websites for their classes. So if you have any questions or problems with registering or not getting access into a class, I'm the person that can help you with that. Is there anything I'm missing, Mari?
Oh, I think that's it. Thanks, Karen. We do have a few questions that people typically ask about the program. And if you are watching live and you have any questions, make sure you type those in so we can get those answered. The first question, I am employed full-time and have a family. How many credits or classes should I take each semester? Usually I'd recommend no more than about 2 or 3 per semester. If you are working full-time and have a family, maybe even just a couple of courses per semester. And also it's better to start out with a little bit fewer courses until you can kind of see if you can handle it, kind of get into the swing of things, and you might be able to handle a little bit more later. As I've mentioned, a lot of times you do need to have those content, the undergraduate courses, as well as the master's degree. And usually I recommend taking a mix of graduate and undergraduate courses. It just gives you a little bit more variety, and the undergraduate courses aren't quite as intense as the master's level courses. So sometimes that kind of helps people to balance things out as well. The second question, can I transfer coursework into this program, and how will I know what transfers? According to NDSU policy, you can transfer up into 9 credits. However, these courses would need to be a very close match to the courses that are currently in our program. As I mentioned, there's not a lot of electives within the master's degree. They're all pretty much required, but if you have taken a course that is very similar to one of the classes that are required, that could definitely be a possibility, and you would either find out if it does transfer through our registration and records department or through me. Our third question, how does licensing work for the MED and FACS program if I'm not from North Dakota? Usually what is the cleanest and easiest method is for you to get a North Dakota teaching license and take that back to your home state, simply because we know that this set of courses and this master's degree will grant you a teaching license for sure in North Dakota. Other states might or might not accept the individual classes. You would want to make sure that your state would accept a North Dakota teaching license. Another option that you can do is to work very, very closely with your state Education Standards and Practices Board to find out exactly what courses you would need in thinking about the content courses, the apparel and those kinds of courses. Work with them on that part and then get the education portion through our program. It does take a lot of communication, and we really want to make sure that your program is going to lead you towards licensure if that's what you desire. So we want to make sure that it will work in your state. And our fourth question, I'm seeking a FACS teacher license. Will I need to take any additional courses besides those listed in the Great Plains Master's program? As we've mentioned, yes, you would need whatever undergraduate content courses weren't covered by your bachelor's degree and whatever is required for licensure in your state. They can be taken at the same time as your master's degree. You don't need to finish those undergraduate ones first. They can be taken at the same time. And they can also be taken through other institutions. I don't see any new questions that have come up. I'd really like to thank you for viewing this, and please let me know if you have any more questions on our Great Plains IDEA Master's degree in Family and Consumer Sciences Teacher Education.